Hi everyone, my name is Naresh Shati and I'm going to be presenting about the intercultural relations. So in my article, I've discussed about that the students, the international students who were from Turkey went to the European Community Scheme for Mobility. So they have faced some cultural issues like they were identified as a universal students, being an international students. As I mentioned that the students were from Turkey and they went to the Europe for some community scheme. They faced barriers on national and foreign cultures like as most of the Turkish students spoke Turkish and Europeans, most of them knew English, but most of them preferred to spoke Russian. So these were the communication barriers between the two international students. They were familiarizing with the one's culture. They were learning about the cultures, other cultures. These are the barriers to intercultural communications. Cultural identity that as I mentioned before, that the international students were from different culture and they were identified with the different culture. Language differences. Turkish students face language as they didn't knew English very well, since very low students knew about the English language, but they were not as fluent. Cultural norms and values. There are different cultural norms and values which has to be considered. It plays a crucial role in the host culture. Also, student face communication styles difficulty as most of the students faced difficulty with the slang as they were not so perfect with the English, even though the students knew English. Now comes the non-verbal communication. So facial expressions are the first thing we notice while communicating. I'll give the example in the next. Gestures are the movement signal to communicate without words. Now example. For instance, like nodding our head while communicating to others make them understand that we are understanding and listening to them. Making an eye contact with the person whom we are talking also makes them realize that we are interested and they can feel that we are trustworthy. These are the language barriers. The language is a possible obstacle for the international students. As in the academic literature, students from Turkey face communication issues while participating in the European Community Scheme for the mobility of university students. Business communications. To foster an inclusive and welcoming environment, organization must encourage and promote diversity among all the employees. Also they have to use inclusive language instead of exclusive language, which can lead to conflict. Implement clear and equitable policies. In organization, employees are recommended to be for the instance of the cultural discrimination, and without fear they have to report, provide education and awareness campaigns. Organization should provide an education for about the different cultures to the all the employees in the organization. Here comes the dimensions of culture. Multicultural society. New Zealand is a multicultural society where people from various ethnic backgrounds stay here. We can learn about the value of inclusivity, tolerance, and the richness that culture diversity brings to a nation. Maori influence is an integral part of the New Zealand. We can also learn and acknowledge respecting indigenous cultures, also fostering culture diversity. New Zealand people have a laid-back attitude as they are very relaxed and they go in an easygoing manner. They learn to prioritize work-life balance and reduce stress, enjoy a more leisurely lifestyle than compared to other cultures. New Zealand has influenced by European and British as they have influence on language, legal system and education and governance as well. New Zealand is a multiculturalism as they have various cultural patterns. People from different backgrounds have different traditional and tradition values. In New Zealand also focuses on environmental consciousness as sustainability and environmental consciousness are the crucial part of the New Zealand, and it comes under the vital cultural pattern. Contact between cultures. Pacific Islanders, people from Samoa, Fiji and other Pacific nations contribute multicultural tapestry with their music, dance and culinary traditions. People from Asian communities, including Chinese, Indians, also brings its cultural practices as languages and religious traditions. LGBTQ plus community is an important part of the New Zealand's cultural diversity. As New Zealand also has a festival known as Auckland's Pride Parade. Cultures within the cultures, Maori cultures within New Zealand cultures. Maori communities have their own custom, tradition, language, and they have also their cultural practices that coexist within the other cultural groups. Pacific Islanders, people from Samoa, Tongan, and Fiji contribute their culture in the New Zealand as they maintain their language, tradition, and practices, creating distinct subcultures. Identity and subgroups. People can maintain their native language, and people continue to speak the language within their families and communities, even though people with other subcultures do not know the languages. Festivals and celebrations, individuals can showcase their cultural identity and share with the broader community. Examples: Indians participating in the Diwali festival. Food and cuisine also plays an important role in maintaining cultural identity. As people prepare dishes and from their own culture and enjoy, they may also bring the dishes to the other subcultures as well. So these are my references. Thank you.
Norris, can you go back to your slides on dimensions of culture? Okay, so it's very clear. It is a well-researched material with all the images. So you have researched about the culture actually in New Zealand that you have observed. Now, what do you think is from there? What's your learning from there? Having known this, in fact, you have mentioned about being laid-back attitude. So, what do you think? How it reflect in you? What's your idea, or what do you think it's going to help you in the future? I mean, having known the dimensional culture of New Zealand, because it's very specific in New Zealand. If you are going to stay here in New Zealand the next 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, What do you think are you learning from this that will bring you to your success in the next 20 years?
The most important thing I've learned with the laid back attitude of the New Zealand people are like they keep the work in the workplace while they're working, and after the work they have done, they come home and spend time with the families. So they spend the quality time with the families or themselves, which is very important. As I come from India, most of the people they don't spend their time with the families. They couldn't do it because of the work culture, which is very different from here. So that is one thing I've learned about the New Zealand culture.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
That is the most important thing. You know, you're able to really reflect, from the materials you're preparing. It's well prepared material.